In 1923, a man put his pen to paper. He was not a king, he was a soldier, a survivor, a man who had watched his world collapse piece by piece, year by year, until there was almost nothing left. He signed, and the Ottoman Empire disappeared from the map. 600 years of history, 3 continents, 40 million people, 1 signature. But that moment was not inevitable. There was another moment, years before, in October 1914. A decision was made in a room in Istanbul, and that decision changed everything. What if a different decision had been made? The Ottoman Empire had been dying for 100 years. That is what the Europeans said. They called it the sick man of Europe, an ancient body stretched too thin, too many languages, too many religions, too many borders, but it kept surviving. In 1877, Russia declared war. The Ottomans lost, but the empire survived. In 1911, Italy invaded Libya. The Ottomans lost, but the empire survived. In 1912, the Balkan nations took the last Ottoman territories in Europe. The empire lost almost everything west of Istanbul, but it survived. There were men inside the empire who believed it could do more than survive. They were called the Young Turks. In 1908, they seized power from the Sultan. They wanted railways, newspapers, a modern army, a constitution that gave citizens rights instead of just subjects' duties. They were building something new inside the old frame of the empire. They were not finished. Then came June 28, 1914. An Austrian archduke was assassinated in a street in Sarajevo. Europe chose sides, Germany and Austria-Hungary. Against France, Russia, Britain. The Ottoman Empire hesitated. For 3 months it watched. There were those inside the Ottoman government who said, "Stay out. This war will ruin everyone." There were others who said, "Germany is modern. Germany is strong. We must join them now." In October 1914, the second group won. German-controlled Ottoman warships fired on Russian ports in the Black Sea. The empire was at war. It was a decision made by a small group of men in a small room in Istanbul. It killed hundreds of thousands. It ended the empire. But what if those men had chosen differently? What if the ships had stayed in port? What if the Ottoman Empire had said, "This is Europe's war, not ours"? It was possible. The empire had no direct conflict with France or Britain or Russia that demanded immediate war. The Young Turks were divided. Many did not trust Germany. The armies were still recovering from the Balkan Wars. The ammunition depots were half empty. A neutral Ottoman Empire was not a fantasy. It was the road not taken. The First World War continues without the Ottomans. The same bloodshed on the Western Front, the same trenches, the same stalemate. But in the South, everything is different. Britain does not need to fight at Gallipoli. Those 140,000 Allied soldiers sent to the shores of the Dardanelles, they go instead to reinforce the Western Front. The war ends earlier. Not by years, perhaps by months. But in war, months are measured in hundreds of thousands of lives. Germany is defeated in the autumn of 1918. The Ottoman Empire has lost nothing. It sits at the peace conference in Paris, not as a defeated power waiting for victors to divide its territory. It sits as a neutral, intact.